intro. What's up, broods and brudettes? It's the Pico Dudes. I'm Jeremy Hidalgo, and with me, wearing pants today, is Sam Rathert. We're both on the same side of the table again, so that's why the pants are on.
Yeah, we've kind of added it to Podcast 101. Always wear pants.
AWP. That's, we'll make a t-shirt out of that or something.
What would Jesus wear? Probably not pants.
I was going to say sandals.
All right. Let's talk about beer. As I get super loud and excited.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't get super loud and excited when we talk about beer? Maybe not us specifically, but just anybody in general. So, what'd you brew today? You've got one that you brought in because you're carrying us here for the next couple of episodes.
Yeah, that's a first.
No, it's not. Hey, I ordered some more. We've got some more coming. Good episodes on their way. And anyways.
Oh, that's pretty good. So I've got, and I'm going to pardon my French here, but it's Jack's Ass English IPA. And,
pardon your French.
Pardon my français.
Oh.
And I don't know if it truly qualifies as an English IPA because it is made with English Pale and Crystal malts, but English Pale is the primary malt. But then you're adding in Northern Brewer hops, which is American hops. So it's actually a hop that Annie from Any Brews, from PicoBrew, she absolutely loves the Northern Brewer hops. So here we go. We're going to try a English IPA, and we've talked about those before. It is darker in color. Mm-hmm. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
well, you told me earlier, but I think you said it was like a 14.
It is a
SRM.
14, so it actually looks like a red beer.
Yeah, it's kind of a really dark copper color. Mm-hmm. Definitely red. It looks like just a really good, nice red.
Yeah,
you want to drink.
So this beer comes from Jim Chester, who just kind of a home brewer. He got a pack. He got a pack up early for an individual, very early onto PicoBrew, and of course he does know Annie. That probably helped.
Yeah.
Got his pack up. You can actually find it in the brewer's side, but he does not have his brewery. He's just sort of a home brewer who invented this English IPA with a Western flair, bringing in those American hops.
Yeah. So it comes from Jim Chester. Huh?
Comes from Jim Chester. Not much to say about him. I'm not sure where we get the Jack's Ass label, but it does have a picture of the rear end of a donkey kind of kicking back at you. And
yeah, I like the name. It's clever.
Maybe that's what grabbed me.
Yeah. You got grabbed by the Jack's Ass.
You know, it would have been better if it's some dude named Jack.
He's a plumber.
No, that would... Oh, man. Jack's Crack. We got to come back with Jack's Crack. That's going to be a stout.
Oh, God.
So, we've not had enough beer yet today. We just started. This is one of those rougher episodes where we aren't loose. We haven't loosened.
You're right. We're not loose. How about if you pour me a drink and let's talk about the stats of this beer?
Ooh, big stats. So we've got an ABV of 6. So not too much. Sort of in that sweet spot where you can have a couple and still wander around the house.
Yeah.
An IBUs of 51. And we'll kind of draw our own...
Debatable.
Yes, we've had a sneak taste. Ooh, excuse me. I will admit to a sneak taste here. How about you pour your own so I don't get in my lap or yours? Oh, wow. I poured hard and it definitely has the smell coming out.
I like the smells coming out of this.
What are you getting out of that then?
It smells,
smells brown. It smells like a color.
Yeah.
Smells brick.
So I do pick up a little, it's kind of sour. A little bit of the metallic that you were mentioning, but not much. Actually I get a little, this is going to sound a little weird. It's not quite as sweet, but like a cream of wheat.
Yeah.
Like a cream of wheat out of there. With part of it is I just had a drink of it, and there's a little bit of a cinnamony, like a spice flavor to this. It's not strong. It's just real, like underlying. Yep. And we got this in the other beer,
in the Stingray IPA we did last episode.
Yeah.
So
tell us about that.
Inside baseball, we've got in this one, again, I did not use a supplied yeast. I used Denny's favorite, which is the Y Yeast 1450. Same yeast I used in the Stingray. And to jump ahead a little bit, I think this yeast, or at least how I'm using this yeast, has really mellowed out the beers for better and worse. So I don't think they're as sharp. in flavor profile. I don't think they're as grabby as you might expect from IPAs, but I also think they're abundantly drinkable.
Oh man, they're so good.
So you can just, I mean, you could guzzle one of these and it would not be not tasty to do. So jumping back, so we were getting some no's. I almost had fresh rain, like when it just rained and it's been dry for a few days, and you get that kind of sweet, musty, fresh rain smell on the ground coming up, or
maybe if like fresh cut grass, but there's really not much grass.
Not grassy, it's more like earthy or something. Yeah. So I got that on the nose. So what about flavors? What do you?
You know, I said cream of wheat, and I think there's a good level of maltiness in this beer, and again, that 1450 is really sort of adding a little bit of this. It's almost like a cinnamony brown sugar note or something to the beers, and it's really, really pleasant. It's mellowing everything out. It's like when I grew up, my grandma used to make me like the cream of wheat. She'd put a pat of butter on top and then sprinkle.
I was gonna say I've never had cream of wheat. I have no idea what this tastes like.
Oh yeah, like you put milk in there and then a little bit of brown sugar and you mix it all together and it's wonderful. And that is very, very similar to what this like beer reminds me of. It reminds me of cream of wheat in Grandma's kitchen. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't know what this was supposed to taste like, but this is good.
I have somehow moved from peach cobbler of last episode to a cinnamon apple pie or something.
I could get that. You poured a little bit more in mine, and now the bitterness is coming through a little bit more. So I don't know if it just took me a while to kind of cleanse my palate and get used to it, but
is it a 51 IBUs bitterness?
No, and again, I know 51 or the IBUs is kind of a subjective scale because there's no real way to measure, that, but it sure as heck doesn't taste like 51.
I mean, my first taste, I said, I must have written that backwards. I think it's supposed to be 15.
Yeah.
Because this has, to me, less IBU bite than a Blue Moon, or right about the same. And I think that's around an IBU 15 beer. And Blue Moon, again, that infinitely easy drinking kind of, it's why it's a great beginner beer. This is another one of those, this would be a really good beginner beer.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, again, I didn't make it right, but if you were to give this to a non-beer drinker, I think they would go, wow, this is not what I thought beer was.
If this is wrong, I don't want to be right. No, it's good. It's tough. I think the way that our Stingray IPA episode turned out a few episodes back, where
last episode. Oh no, it's going to be a couple episodes. You're right.
It'll be 2 episodes back because we record in advance. But it threw me the way that there was such a difference between the 2 beers that you and I brewed. Like, I think before I would have said, you get a level of consistency out of the PicoBrew, and maybe it's true when you follow the recipes, but it was just that's so spot on that I'm super amazed as a home brewer. There's so many variables that can come into it, and that last one was just, they were wildly different beers, both wonderful, both great. And this again is one of those, and maybe it's just the yeast. I think we'll just from now on have to order 2 packs and try one with the 1450 and one with the yeast is supplied.
I think I'm going to go back to supplied yeast for a while because it wasn't really ruining any beers for me. And I want to kind of get a better feel for the brewing as a whole and get everything else under control before I start playing with yeast again. Because I think I've got a couple other issues in my game. One, I'm not cold crashing at any point. I used to, and then I got lazy. And the buckets didn't fit in my fridge very well.
Yeah.
So I've gone back to that for my last couple beers. And I want to kind of see if I can get the cold crash better, if I can get my fermentation temperature more specifically held on point. And I want to hop for longer when I dry hop the beers. Once I've got that, I think I might go back and experiment. But I will tell you, we got a couple more beers coming up. One is a revisit of the Rogue Dead Guy Ale, which I'm really looking forward to. That was done on the Stingray IPA yeast.
Oh, wow.
So I literally mean, once I had racked off the Stingray IPA, took all the stuff at the bottom, I poured in a little extra distilled water just so I could kind of stir it up.
When you racked it off?
And after I racked it off. Why? Don't make that dirty. I rack off all the time.
So do I. It's a part of homebrewing.
Yes.
It's perfectly natural.
And I poured...
I hear you'll go blind if you do it too much.
I got all this hair on my hands. I don't know where it's coming from. I've been racking off a lot. And
Mom was right.
And so where was I? I took that, I just poured it right into my cool down wort of my
Just directly in there?
Rogue Dead Gale. Just
Nice.
swirled up the bucket, poured it into the new fermentation bucket for my Rogue Dead Gale, and that was my yeast.
Yeah.
And I know it worked because I watched it bubble and do its thing.
Yeah. So how did you like save half of it for this, or did you order another smack pack?
So when I made this, I made this on the same day as I made the Stingray. I smacked around my pack several times, and my pack refused to do what I think it's supposed to do. So I cut it open and used Starlight scissors to cut the inner pack so I could get it all to activate, because I'm obviously not a strong enough man.
You don't have the backhand like John McEnroe.
I don't. I do not have the front hand like Turner either.
Yeah,
I don't.
There you go.
I do not keep my pimp hand strong. So my smack was not working. So I did that, poured half of it into the freshly cooled wort of the Stingray IPA, poured the other half at the same time into the freshly cooled wort of this Jackass IPA. And I noticed we have two very similar beers.
Yeah.
Now, they both fermented because I brewed them on the same day. They fermented for the same amount of time because I bottled them at the same time. They fermented at the exact same temperatures, uncontrolled in my house in late spring, which probably had some fluctuation to it also. So all of that is contributing to what we've got here. But I can tell you this, the Jack's ass. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear there.
Don't offend Jack.
But the Jack's ass IPA.
His ass is delicious.
Wow.
Dang it, we're loosening up.
We are starting to loosen up. This does not taste like that other one. This is when we refer to it tastes like Jack's ass, that's going to be much better.
Yes, for sure.
So I then brewed up a gosh, you got me.
Malto meal? Have you ever had malto meal? That's basically cream of wheat.
No, I haven't.
Sorry, out of left field.
This?
I'm just trying to keep you
Where
off
did you
your
grow
game.
up? And so I made Dragon's Tooth Stout. So while I use the second half, or I reuse the Stingray for my next one, when I reused this yeast, I used it in a Dragon's Tooth Stout. And I'm telling you, that soft, mellow taste you're getting right here, when you mix it with that dark, malty, rich, chocolatey coffee stout, I racked it off yesterday. And I had some extra, which is rare for me. Normally, I find when I rack out of the fermentation vessels into bottles, my fifth bottle is always like an inch or two short, at least the way I measure.
Yeah. Productive day of racking off then.
Yes. And what I had this time is I had 5 full bottles and some extra.
Yeah.
And so I just racked that extra into a glass and thought, well, I'll try it. And I sipped it and I went, and I closed up the bottles and I went and sat down and I went and researched fantasy football for 20 minutes while I drank my uncarbonated.
Yeah, it was probably
Dragon's
still
Tooth Stout.
carbonated.
A tiny bit of
yeah.
carbonation, but it was pretty minimal. And it was delicious. I've never sat down and like had a chocolate milk that was that good. It was creamy and thick and super flavorful. And super mellow.
Yeah.
And everything what was that one we had that was a lager? It was a dark lager not too long ago.
Oh, Tally the Timid? No, Cascadian Dark Ale?
No, not that one. It might have been that. No, it wasn't Tally the Timid. That was an English ale, wasn't it? But we did have the Negredo, which was a dark lager. And we had, and Tally the Timid was similar in that they felt really thin.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a big, thick, teeth chewy beer. But anyways, that's on this yeast. The yeast that was created, the yeast that created this beer. Yeah. That exact same stuff at the bottom after I finished racking. I'm not going to be able to not think about racking off. I mean, I think about racking off all the time.
Please go home first.
So that's what's in it. So I think this beer is not bad.
No,
it's not great beer. I was really in the mood for beer, and this is hitting the spot for me.
This beer really fits my flavor profile.
I'm gonna spit beer on your computer.
Yeah,
Flavor profile.
Yeah. This when I really fall in love with beers, they're right here. Like I love the reds. I love a lot of the Scotch ales or Scottish ales. I'm a big fan of the dark beers, mainly because they're smooth, they're malty, they have sort of that. It's like comfort food of beer, right? And this is right there. We've got smoke in Seattle, and
so much.
and so the ambient light outside right now is like all orange, right? And this is one of those things where it kind of makes you start to feel a little bit like fall is here and fall is coming, even though it's not. It's supposed to be like
fall is coming, by the way.
Well, it is coming.
Fall is. Wouldn't that be the lamest Game of Thrones ever?
Not Ned Stark.
Fall is coming. That would be
pumpkin spice lattes everywhere.
That would be the worst North ever.
That's like not quite all the way north. It's like Northern California. Anyway, so
I want to do a meme of fall is coming now because it is. It's mid-August.
Yeah,
it's going to be here in a month. The leaves are falling from the trees already.
Are they really?
Oh yeah, my front yard has leaves all over it already.
Oh,
it might just because it's been warm so long.
Yeah, I don't know. It was,
but fall is near. At least it feels like fall is near for us right now. And this beer is delicious to drink, and it fits that fall time.
Yeah, it feels like fall when you just kind of want to sit by the fire, sip your beer, drink it, enjoy it.
It feels like home.
Mm-hmm. It feels like cream of wheat in Grandma's kitchen.
Goat Boy says it's not bad.
It's good. So, what else were we gonna say? I had another thing that I was gonna talk about with this beer, but that's okay. It's good.
No, you were going to talk about. I'm still bottle carbonating, and I think on a couple of my next ones. So I am going to do the one from the restaurant down the street, the Herb Farm.
Oh, the Herb Farm. That's
their
the
100
mile beer. Yeah.
So I got it sitting next to my PicoBrew right now. So I'm going to try and brew that up. And I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to brew it entirely in the brewing keg. I'm going to then rack it directly into a serving keg.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try a couple in the serving keg, and I'm going to try forced carb it. Yeah, I need to do that. I've only done it once. It came out pretty good, but I wanted forced carb a couple more times because it's just more consistent. And I'm worried, and I could be completely worried for no reason. I feel like the sugar I'm adding is making my beers too sweet. And it could be I'm adding too much. So the last couple I did, I added a lot less sugar than what came in the packet.
With your Scarface method of measuring.
Oh.
You just get your business cards out and like start cutting up the
lines,
pile
baby.
of sugar.
5 lines. And so I'm going to do less, but I'm worried about my sugar. I don't know. Will it sweeten the beer? I know nothing about this.
Well, it depends on how long you let it bottle condition. Like obviously this one had really good carbonation levels. I don't really feel like it imparted a lot of extra sweetness, but it will depend on how long you give it to do the bottle conditioning.
Yeah.
Like and you know, temperature is going to play a role in that as well, and so whether it gets through all the sugars or not. I remember what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You were talking all about all the, you know, the wonderfulness of the Dragon's Tooth Stout. Yes. And I just ordered milk mustachio today, and now
milk mustachio.
Yeah, it's one of the ones.
Giving you that for free.
It's one of the. Oh God. While you're racking off,
I'm loosening up, Jeremy. See, I'm loosening up.
Yeah, I don't want one of those from you, but I do want the beer.
Why did you have to add the from me?
Because you were offering. I don't want one of those from anybody. Just
Why
to be clear,
would you not say that part?
I don't know.
I don't want one of those from you.
From anyone.
Wow, that was awful specific in your. It's okay.
I wouldn't mind it from beer. Like if. Never mind. That could be taken. I'm cutting that out.
Jack's ass?
Did I smack
No, don't smack the table. People drive off the road because you'll never cut it.
True. No, but I was thinking, like, I could add the 1450 to that one, and I would really like to have a baseline to check it against, though. So,
well, then I need to also brew it, but I suck at brewing.
No, you don't. Dude, you've had some really, really good beers.
This Dragon's Tooth, I expect to be your first real 5. At least since Denny, and we were kind of tossed.
Yeah, but that was still really,
still really good. I almost put vanilla in one of the bottles because like this is so good. I wonder what it tastes like with vanilla. But I held myself back because I still have a Denny Con. I'm going to redo the Imperial Porter, and I might hold on to it Christmas episode.
Yeah, we should do like once a year. We do the Denny Con episode. we'd play with all kinds of wild variations on the recipe, and we just get tanked drinking that beer and talking it up. And
That's our snow day beer.
ooh, think we'll have any snow days this year?
No, it's way too hot now. We've seen the last of snow days about 5 years ago here in the Northwest. Unfortunately, it's we are the slowest warming state of the 50, and yet we're still warming.
Yeah, I think they were saying that like by the year 2024 or 2025, our weather patterns are going to be like San Diego.
Isn't that awesome for us and not them?
Yeah,
because their weather patterns are gonna.
Yeah, they're going to be like. What are they going to be? I guess Baja, like with the equator, wherever, whatever the weather is like on the equator directly.
Yeah, it's hot from what I remember.
Sounds humid.
So it's going to be delicious. They're going to wish they had a cool lager, or a cerveza.
Ooh, or a Moentime Pils.
I still have a couple Moentime Pils.
That was good.
Yep, I'm saving mine because I haven't mowed my lawn in about a month and a half, 2 months because it's been so hot.
You're going to need a few bottles of that. You can't go outside and do it right now because of the smoke advisory.
Yep. So, yeah, I actually drove here with my convertible top down. Thought about halfway here as my throat was getting sore. Maybe this was a bad idea before podcasting.
I don't know. I rode my bike into work today. It's about 16 miles.
Oh, that's not smart either.
Yeah, but I was fine.
Yeah. Well, we're toughening ourselves up.
Yes.
Getting our lungs ready so we can have more delicious beer. So if you're going to rate a beer
like this beer?
Like Jack's Ass. Jack's Ass IPA.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of Jack's Ass?
It doesn't taste IPA-ish.
No, it doesn't.
So I'm not sure if you nailed the recipe, but this particular beer, if you brew it again, I would like to brew this beer. And I'd like to have it on hand. This is a good football drinking, like football watching, drinking beer. Or book reading beer, if you want to get more sophisticated. I like it. It
needs more hop profile. Is what it's missing.
And it needs to round out a little bit.
Yep.
I'm at a 3.85.
I'm at a 3.5.
Okay.
So 3.85. You're getting really specific. We just went to quarter points 2 episodes ago.
I almost said 4 because again, this is right in my flavor profile area, flavor for whatever.
Yeah.
But this is
it's all up in your area.
Yeah. I like this beer. I like it a lot, but it's there's a little bit of something that it needs, and it's more hops.
You sure it's not more cowbell?
Everything needs more cowbell.
Congrats if you got that reference.
That sounds like a Pico pack that should be invented.
More cowbell.
The Pico pack that doesn't need anything.
No,
because it already comes with more cowbell.
It's called more cowbell. Why are we not inventing more cowbell? Don't take our idea, listener.
Because we are waiting for PicoBrew to approve us as a brewery.
Get on that, PicoBrew, so that we can create more. Screw all these Fast and Furious names. More cowbell sounds great.
Yeah.
What does this beer need? Nothing. It already has more cowbell.
Exactly.
Or if you're ever if you're ever out with your buddies, like, you know what would make this great? What? More cowbell.
Mm-hmm. Because that would be true.
Is that not perfect?
It would be the beer that goes with everything and just enhances your experience. So
nothing doesn't go better with more cowbell.
Yeah, what kind of beer would that be? I don't know I guess it would be an IPA.
It would be extremely alcoholic.
Especially if Spike brews it.
Oh, man.
I feel like you could add something to it.
Can we get a beer to 14%?
Sure.
I think we should try.
Should we make it an ice beer? So like when you're done, then you put it in the freezer.
I do that with ciders, but that gives you horrible headaches.
That's like Apple Jack's ass.
Yeah, it's like apple. That would be Apple Jack's ass.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, you should try that with a bottle of this.
Oh man,
dude. I mean, there's no apple. Oh, hold your tongue and say that.
Why? Oh, the beer's catching up to us now.
Anyways, this is like 25 minutes so far. So
we're gonna finish this bottle. We've given it ratings. I'm a 3.5. You're a
3.85.
Fudge. That is just.
Yeah, maybe I should do
3.75.
Oh, all right.
Keep it at quarters at least.
I was gonna go 3.875.
No, oh my goodness, you're keeping it to eighths.
Yes, that would be eighths. So, anyways, we're dorks.
Thank you for sticking with us in this painful Jack's Ass episode.
Why is Jack's ass painful?
Because we've been pounding it.
All true statements. Cheers.
Excuse us while we pound Jack's ass.
Pico dudes.
Out.
You've reached the end of another episode of the Pico Dudes podcast. Connect with us at picodudes.com, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And if you enjoyed our show, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts, but mostly iTunes. Also, if you want a code that will help give you some discounts off of the PicoBrew equipment, Z150D equals $150 off of the Z series. Pro, Pro 125D gives you $125 off of the Pico Pro, and C75D gets you $75 off of your purchase of a Pico C. We hope you enjoy listening. Look forward to hearing from you. Pico Dudes out.